Sonicstate here at Synthfest 2022. It's nearly the end of the day, but I found him. I've been looking for him all day.
I've been here, to be fair.
I've just become Elden Lord in Elden Ring, and he knows what that's talking about. Some of you might know what that is, and it's a major achievement.
It's a big day.
It's a big day. But anyway, I digress. Oz, Expert Sleepers, one of Britain's top, well, not just Britain's top, one of the greatest Eurorack manufacturers on the planet, and here with some quite interesting things. So I'm kind of interested to go on about this, but we'll come back to this. But let's just first have a look. Now, was it maybe last year or the year before you launched some new analog modules?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you exactly when, but maybe about a year ago. Yeah. So yeah, I've Expert Sleepers history has all been digital. It's been about computer interfacing, and then it's been about the Disting, which is a digital multifunction module. As a complete break from that, I decided to do some 100% analog modules. Old school, VCO, VCF, VCA, analog phaser, 8HP. Yeah, just analog loveliness. Getting back to why I personally got into modular 15 years ago or more. Because I wanted to make analog squelchy sounds. So now I've built things that do that. So like I say, traditional functions, but each has a little twist that makes it unusual and gives it something that you wouldn't necessarily find in other modules of its ilk.
So I was kind of particularly interested in the naming then.
Oh yes.
Lorelei, Ivo, Persephone,
and Beatrix.
Well, what's the origins of the names then?
They're song titles. From. Are you actually? Is this a leading question, or you genuinely not know? Cocteau Twins.
Cocteau Twins, of course.
Of course,
yes. Yeah. And that's Ivo after Ivo Watts Russell, isn't it?
It would be, yes. So that immediately you know now the names of my next 5 modules, because it'll be the rest of that album.
Oh.
So yeah, that's where the names come from. It's one of my absolute favourite albums of all time.
Amazing. That's a really amazing thing to name modules after. So, very briefly then, just tell us what is the kind of the superhero strengths of each of these modules?
Okay, so in order, Lorelei VCO, it's sine core rather than triangle or ramp core. So it will give you a completely pure sine wave. In fact, it will give you quadrature sines as the VCO outputs. But it's got waveshaping circuitry, so you can go continually from sine to something that's a bit like a triangle back to sine, or on that output, pure sine to something that's a bit like a triangle to a sine again, and that's obviously under the TV control. And there's also a square output, in which case the wave shape is like a PWM. So it's got some timbres that are similar to what you get from another VCO, but not linear FM, exponential FM, and it has a cross mod input, which is a bit like a sync, but doesn't work in the same way as a normal sync. So it's like sync effects, but with a slightly different flavour that reflects what you're syncing it to more so than usual. Okay. So that's the 100-mile view of that one.
Yeah.
Ivo is low-pass filter, switchable between 2 and 3 poles, resonant, self-oscillates in 2 poles.
Why did you choose 2 and 3 poles then, rather
because,
than 4 poles?
To be different. Why would I make another 4-pole filter? But 3-pole, especially 3-pole resonant, is quite unusual, because that's just not how the maths of filters usually works out. So I think, maybe it's not, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's novel to have a resonant 3-pole filter. I think is a bit different. I love the sound of it.
What was the 303?
Don't know.
Was that a 3-pole filter?
I don't think so, was it?
No.
Maybe it was.
Comments below.
Yes, I don't know. And it's just, you're not hearing any sound from this, obviously, at the moment, but I think it's a lovely sound. Persephone, the VCA. It's a VCA, it does a relatively clean VCA function. It's based on a JFET transistor. If you wind up the gain, you're basically overdriving that transistor. Gives you a very natural, analog, organic kind of overdrive effect. Is as part of your VCA. And the real USP of that is its zero cross button. So if you give a really fast envelope, or even just a gate into the VCA input of a normal VCA, you'll get a clicky sound that'll kind of randomly come and go as the envelope slices off random bits of your waveform as it opens and closes. Engage zero cross on that, and it basically only does the gain changes on the zero cross, so it gets rid of all that clickiness. So you can have literally take a gate out rather than an envelope, stick it into the VCA, shut your VCO on and off with no clicks. So that's kind of handy. But also it's the sound that you get. Somebody on the forum says that he has 2 of these just on his main stereo master bus.
All right.
Just as a bit of analogness, you know?
Nice.
So that's that. And then finally, Beatrix is a phaser. It's a 4-pole analog phaser. Nothing particularly unique about it, but it does capture that analog, swirly, phasery sound. A couple of switches to kind of tune the nature of the phase that you get. Feedback, give it an LFO typically, but equally give it an envelope or just twiddle the knob. It's a lovely analog phaser. So yeah, that's my current analog lineup. And like I say, you know the names of the rest. You don't know what they do yet, but
that means there's more
coming soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see a possible few holes in the unit that.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a little bit what could be coming.
Honestly, that was because I just didn't want to bring too much stuff. I wanted to focus on this because I would love people to know more about these.
Yeah, nice. I was kind of meaning holes in
I see.
in the voice.
Oh, I see. Yes, yes.
Guessing what might be coming and not speculating beyond that.
No. Yes, I never set out to make a complete system.
Right.
But it's going that way.
It's going that way. Interesting. So, speaking of complete systems,
yes,
the Disting EX is a system in itself, really, isn't it? This is.
Well, certainly, if you put enough of them together, it is. Yes.
Because, well, you've got so many things in the Disting EX. There's something interesting that you're showing here, isn't it? Which is.
Yes. So this is basically a little like DIY project that I did to address people who tell me that the screen on this is too small. And I mean, it is small. I also find it very easy to read, but it is small. So this is basically exactly the same display. You just buy that and you connect it up to the Disting EX behind the panel and it gives you the display on a bigger screen. And that there is just mirroring it, but on some things, like for example this envelope generator where it's got two screens normally, so either this thing which shows the envelope shapes or the normal thing which shows you the parameters. If you've got both screens, you can have one on that screen and one on the other screen and have both at the center.
So
yeah.
I'm a big fan of the Disting EX, and I do actually think that even though it's 8 HP, which is essentially the width of two Distings, hence actually its full title is, what is it? Super Disting EX
Plus
Alpha.
Yes. Which again is a homage to something which we needn't go into at great length.
But even though it's quite smaller, at 8 HP, the depth of this thing is astonishing. It can be a multi-sampler, it can be a matrix mixer. Oh my God, it's a gigantic list.
I'm
big drone machine.
Sample player drone machines. The things I've added recently that you might not have seen. There's an thing I call a chord engine where you give it a CV and it gives you some harmonized chords out. But there's also a mode that will do that with audio. So it'll take your audio in, pitch track it, figure out harmonies, and then do the pitch shifting on the audio, so you can sing into it and get a harmonized choir out of it, or a guitar.
Amazing.
So yeah, that's in here now as well.
That's why it deserves a big screen as well. I think you could have a Disting that is the whole this big.
Yeah, but then if in the same space you could have 3 Disting EXs, and then you'd have even more power.
Yes, all right, good point.
So people have suggested, how about a big screen that's shared among multiple Distings, and I don't know, maybe. It all gets a bit complicated at that point.
So I mean, something that's always interested to me then, with the software of the Disting EX, are you the sole design? So do you draw upon a lot of open source for that then?
No,
that's
not if I can help it.
Right.
I go out of my way not to look at other people's software, so I can't kind of copy it in a way, because I want. The point of this is that it reflects my creativity and what I want to do, you know? So I don't want to go out there and just slavishly implement something because I've seen it somewhere else.
Now, speaking of your creativity, I think we can have a good plug at...
Oh, okay.
Oz is a great musician, actually. I love his music. And now you have got...
Yeah. So the Expert Sleepers record label, which I call it, it was an effort to expose music that, you know, showcased what Expert Sleepers products can do. So yes, it's also an excuse for me to make records of my own, but it's also releasing music by other people that make use of Expert Sleepers stuff and letting the world know. But yeah, so yeah, it's vinyl now. I'm a recent convert to vinyl. I never used to be, but I've started playing it and started making it, which is hard work, actually. But,
How are
yeah.
you finding then the playback when you listen back to vinyl? What do you feel it's doing, or taking away, or bringing? Other than the ritual of putting
For me, the ritual is a big part of it, and it's the ritual of saying, I will now listen to an album rather than just like slapping some music on. And also because I don't have very many, it kind of, it makes me listen to things multiple times that if it was digital, I would probably just listen to once and ignore.
Yeah.
And I've really got into albums through repeated listening that I might not have stuck with.
I think as well, I think there's something about that, about 18 to 20 minutes of, that's a good amount of time to be concentrated on something. And I think that's where CDs went wrong. Those big long CDs, like a 70-minute listen. It's hard to find that amount of time, really. But
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, I find that so. But nice. So the artwork looks really nice. Presentation.
Thank you.
Is that something that you're doing?
No, that's a graphic designer called Carl Glover, who I've been working with on and off for a very long time now. Carl does some great sleeves for loads of people, not just me. But yeah, these are all Carl's designs, actually all four of these. So yeah, very happy to work with him. I've got another one coming out later this year, again using Carl's graphics, so look out for that.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for taking time to talk to us.
Thank you for coming over. Cheers.
Thank you.